All right, let's talk about something that drives so many of us crazy when we're learning a new language. I'm about to share the real secret to fluency, and you've probably been doing the exact opposite. So, does this sound like you? You've been studying English for years, right? You've got the textbooks, you've done the apps, you know all the grammar rules, but when you actually try to have a conversation, it's like your brain just freezes. Nothing comes out. Okay, and I really, really want you to hear this. If that's you, it is not your fault. Seriously, it's not that you're bad at English. The problem is the way you've been taught. The method itself is broken.
So let's just tear down this whole fluency myth, shall we? Because the traditional way we learn in school, it's actually working against the way our brains are naturally wired to speak.
You see, the real goal here isn't just to know the rules, it's to be able to use English automatically, without having to stop and think, without translating every single word in your head. It should just happen. I mean, just think about your native language for a second. Do you ever stop and think, which verb tense should I use here? No way. You just speak. The words just flow right out. That's the feeling we're going for. So the big question is, how do we actually get there? Well, it all comes down to understanding how your brain works. It basically has two completely different systems for learning a language. Okay, so check this out. On one side, you've got your conscious knowledge. This is all the stuff you memorize, right? The grammar rules, the vocabulary lists. It's slow. It takes a ton of effort. Then on the other side, you've got unconscious knowledge. This is what your brain just soaks up from hearing and reading real English. It's fast, it's automatic, and that, right there, is the key to fluency. So when you try to speak using only that conscious grammar part of your brain, you get stuck in this really painful process. First, you have an idea, then you try to translate it, then you have to remember that one specific grammar rule, you try to piece the sentence together, and only then, finally, do you actually say something. And here's the bottom line. It's just too slow. There's no way you can keep up with a real conversation like that. By the time you've built your perfect sentence in your head, the other person is already talking about something else. It's so frustrating. Okay, so how do we fix this? How do we build that fast, automatic, unconscious system? Well, step one is actually pretty simple, and it's all about feeding your brain. You need to give it a ton of natural English input. And this is where the magic really happens. When you're just, watching a TV show or listening to a podcast, you're not thinking about grammar. You're just trying to understand the story. But in the background, your brain is doing the heavy lifting. It's absorbing all the patterns, the vocabulary, the way sentences are built, all without you even trying. And the best part, you get to pick what you listen to. We're talking YouTube videos, podcasts, your favorite Netflix shows, audiobooks, whatever you find interesting. It all counts as that high-quality food for your brain. And let me just say this again, because it is so important. The absolute best material for you to learn from is whatever content you actually enjoy. If you like it, it won't feel like studying. You'll stick with it, and trust me, you'll learn so much faster. Now here's a super important pro tip for you. Try to avoid videos that are just grammar lessons. Seriously, all those videos explaining verb tenses, they're just feeding that slow, textbook part of your brain that we're trying to get away from. All right, so listening is huge, but it's only half the battle. To actually speak fluently, you have to, speak. But here's the catch. It has to be the right kind of practice. We call this input-driven practice. So instead of just talking to yourself in your room, where you might just be repeating the same mistakes over and over, you use what you're hearing from native speakers as your guide. It's a game changer for fixing mistakes and learning new words naturally. And one of the absolute best ways to do this is with the imitation technique. It's so simple. All you do is listen to a short bit of audio from a native speaker, pause it, and then repeat exactly what you just heard. And I mean exactly. Try to copy the rhythm, the pronunciation, even the emotion in their voice. What you're doing here is basically building muscle memory for your mouth. You're physically training it to make the right sounds. This is the most direct way to go from listening to speaking, and wow, it does wonders for your confidence. Okay, let's put this all together. Here is your new fluency plan. It's a super simple formula for success. Step 1. Massive input. Your job is to listen to as much fun, interesting English as you possibly can.
on the way to work, at the gym, wherever. Step 2, add smart practice. Take a little bit of time each day to actively imitate what you're hearing. This is how you activate all that stuff you've been listening to. And what does that equal? True fluency. That's the formula. This is how you build that automatic, natural ability to speak. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about communicating without thinking so hard.
Look, the old way clearly hasn't been working for you. This new way is based on how your brain actually learns. So really, the only question is, are you ready to change the way you learn English for good?
If this made sense to you and you got some value out of it, do me a huge favor and hit that like button, share it with anyone else you know who's learning, and of course, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks so much for hanging out with me.